Hi, my name is Voss. I'm a front-end engineer at Huddle in Lincoln, Nebraska. Yes, Nebraska. And I want to talk to you about learning other languages makes you a better JavaScript developer, something I feel pretty passionately about. So why learn other languages? So I Googled why learn other languages as if I was speaking about a spoken language. And a lot of the results were surprisingly they related to programming languages as well. Those were impress people around you. That's my favorite. Develop confidence. Improve your employability. Become more open-minded. Challenge yourself. Helping others in need. And what I find most interesting is to understand your own language better. So we're all JavaScript developers here. That's our language. And this was mentioned specifically in a lot of different results that I found, and this is kind of what I want to talk about. So what have I learned by learning other languages? So for a while, I was a Ruby developer on Rails mostly. And on Rails, you use a lot of CoffeeScript. CoffeeScript is pretty interesting, and it helped me really learn JavaScript because it looked like Ruby. It was a pretty graceful introduction to front-end development. And since it's white space based, I kind of became a freak about clean-looking code. But it also introduced me into a lot of the new things coming out in ES 2015. And that was awesome because when I would read these new specs, I'm like, oh yeah, I use that in CoffeeScript. I don't use it anymore, but it helped me a lot. With Ruby, object-oriented programming, that taught me a lot about classical inheritance, variable scoping, how to write modular code, and I can take those things into JavaScript. C#. I'm not a C# developer necessarily, but a lot of Huddle's products are built on top of a .NET backend. I'd never seen a line of C# in my life until I started working at Huddle, and as soon as I had to jump into the backend and write a new API endpoint or fix something, I was terrified. But I ended up really, really enjoying it, or at least more than I thought, because I kind of like statically typed languages now. I like type safety. So bringing that back to JavaScript, I started to introduce better JS documentation, or even flow. And that made my JavaScript more understandable, more readable, and a little bit more error-proof as well. Haskell. Haskell's an interesting language. I've never written anything in Haskell, but I've spent a lot of time reading about it. I've read their documentation, I've read books about it, and what it taught me was what functional programming is. JavaScript did not teach me functional programming, but it can be used as a functional programming language. You can write functions that have no side effects or that are referentially transparent. So since, like I said, JavaScript isn't inherently functional, I didn't learn what that was, but with Haskell I did. It was really awesome. So I was able to take what I learned from Haskell into my JavaScript and think about things in a totally different light, and it really improved my code. Lastly is Clojure. Like Haskell, I've read a lot about Clojure, never really built anything with it. I really like it as a language though. Clojure, you might know, uses exclusively immutable data structures. So while I was learning Clojure and while I was learning about immutability, I was also kind of parallel learning Immutable.js and how to use it and how to implement it in some of the things I was building. And that made learning Immutable.js way easier than it would have been otherwise, because I knew about immutability from a language that is built around it. Immutable.js also uses a lot of functional paradigms. So taking things I learned from Clojure, Haskell, both purely functional, and immutability, I was able to use it almost more naturally than normal JavaScript data structures. So go learn other languages to impress other people, become more open-minded, help others, challenge yourself, become more confident, and most importantly for us, become a better JavaScript developer. Thank you.